This is your First Alert Weather Breakdown, a deep dive into how weather works with meteorologist Evan Thomason.
Welcome on to the First Alert Weather Breakdown. I'm meteorologist Evan Thomason. Thank you for joining us here on the First Alert Weather Breakdown. Hey, it's that time, 10:30 on your weekday. You've reached Wednesday now, halfway through the work week, and things have been meh around outside. I don't know what to think. I'm not sure whether to be optimistic, sad, depressed, okay. I guess that's my vibe, so to speak. That's my mood. Take it if you will. Here throughout the morning show, look, we try to be as optimistic as possible, waking up people in the morning, which I'm on the morning show, morning meteorologist here. Evan Thompson again. First of all, thanks for watching. Thanks for stopping on by. I'm not sure. What is your mood when it comes to this kind of weather? Because obviously it's kind of your typical Arctic weather. It's, on one hand, we have the heat, which, oh man, it's been quite off the charts. We have had heat advisories on repeat galore. Excuse me. Of course, I'm burping at this time. We've had heat advisories repeatedly over the past couple of days until today. We'll get into why a heat advisory isn't in effect here for today just a bit. But the point is, it's still been very hot here over the past couple of days. Yeah, we've had mostly sunny skies. We've got to enjoy some very nice dry conditions around here for the majority of the region. Yet on the other hand, there's things that happen, things like last night, what happened, which is storms. And storms, honestly, were a little more abundant than originally thought here for last night. They pretty much impacted everybody around the Arklatex here yesterday, either during the afternoon or during the evening and nighttime hours. And they made some noise. Lots of lightning strikes, even some trees down in a few areas. I think we got one tree down reported on Uri Drive in Shreveport, and reports of tree on roadways. I think one was in Natchitoches Parish, and I think Sabine County in Texas received some trees on some roadways from some wind coming near there. Also, I think Sabine Parish had a number of power outages, still even into the early morning hours this morning. I haven't rechecked up on that, but yeah, it did quite the damage, especially just for an afternoon thunderstorm kind of event where we didn't really have a chance of severe weather at all. Thankfully no tornadoes at all, but still a good amount of wind, and even I think one or two. I don't think we got hail reports in, thankfully, but still a little windy, a little breezy, lots of noise, lots of heavy rain still regardless. Some of you picked up more than others, but yeah, last night made quite the rain event. Essentially, we got this on repeat to some extent here over the next couple of days. Now, I will say the storm coverage here for the day today is not as great as what it was yesterday with those storms that rolled on through here for your Tuesday. In fact, if you called any day of the work week a rainy day per se out of the entire work week, yesterday was that day. I think Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday still hold chances for storms, but the coverage should be a lot less than what it was yesterday, and hopefully a lot less severe in the process as well. So we're just dealing a stray couple storms here and there each and every day, although some storms will be targeting more areas, more specific localized areas rather than others on certain days. And today is a case in point in that. We'll be talking about where the storms are likely to target here for today, coming up on our local forecast. Here's what we're discussing. Not only are we discussing your local forecast here for the rest of this work week, but we're going to give an in-depth, in-tune tap into your weekend here. For your exclusive content, I'm going to briefly explain scientifically what a sun halo is for those of you looking forward to it. Realize there's not that much of a deep meaning to it, and I also completely forgot, yes, even me, I completely forgot that sun halos are mainly a winter thing that occurs, not a summer thing. I completely forgot what time of the year. I could have sworn they happened during the summer, but they happen more during the winter, actually. They could happen during the summer, but we'll get into why sun halos happen more in the winter in just a little bit. I don't know why I forgot. It does, but anyways, it does. Point is, go over a full look at your local forecast, and we'll just go into a brief science explainer into that before we... That'll be today's episode. So thanks for joining along. Let's get straight into the weather forecast. Oh, one more thing. As I usually tease right about this time, if you want your comments or questions answered at this time, youtube.com. Type in KSLA News 12 and feel free to leave a chat, question, comment. It's open. The floor is yours, and I can look at it and respond to it on live on the podcast. Pretty cool here for the day today. Like, I know today's a little bit of a down day in terms of weather-wise, because we're not dealing with any severe weather outbreak or any major twist or change in the weather pattern here coming up. But stick with us. Stick with us. It's a fun time here. It's a fun time here on the First Alert Weather Breakdown. So, anyways, let's get into enough chitter-chatter. Several of you are looking forward to this John Harvey Toyota Skycam. Here as we start off our forecast here for the day today. Partly cloudy skies around here for this morning. We did have some fog, actually, for the early morning hours as well that we had to watch out for a little bit. Thankfully, just some partly cloudy skies, which are not giving us any rain here for the time being, not only in Bossier, but anywhere around the Arklatex is quite nice. Some areas getting a little more cloud cover than others. Natchitoches Center, a little more sunshine, looks like in the northern half of the region up towards Texarkana. Temperatures for now, meanwhile, 86 at Shreveport, 83 in Texarkana, 84 in Natchitoches, 82 for Idabel. Now, if you've been coming consistently over to the podcast at this time frame where we go over the temperatures around this specific time, you'll note that these temperatures are just a touch cooler right now than what they were yesterday. We'll stay, it's still very hot out. It still feels like temperatures up into the 90s here for a good portion of the region. 89 in Texarkana, 95 in for Shreveport is what it feels like. It still feels hot overall, yes, but the feels like temperature is cooling down here a little bit, and that gets us into our main first point here on our weather forecast, which is actually discussing how there is not a heat advisory in effect for today. This is the first time in 6 days. First time since last Thursday that we have not had a heat advisory. We had a heat advisory streak going on from Friday through the weekend and in through Tuesday, and we finally broken that streak. There is not a heat advisory in effect for anybody around the Arklatex here for the day today. If you're traveling, there is plenty of heat advisories off to our east and further into Arkansas, also in the northeast, Louisiana, out towards Monroe, but not here locally in the Arklatex. So what is the main reason for that? Well, you can actually thank the rain last night. That is the main reason, because the rain has taken away just a little bit of humidity away from the equation. Just a little bit. This is not a groundbreaking like, oh my gosh, it feels amazing outside. Let me just sit on my porch and relax and everything like that. No. There's still a good amount of humidity around the Arklatex, but essentially what we've done is we've taken the muggy meter from being way off the charts oppressive, and we've dropped it down to sticky and kind of on the borderline, especially for today, between oppressive and sticky. But we still have a good amount of humidity, but it's like the typical summer levels now instead of way off the charts here what it was over the past couple of days. So the heat is still there. Don't get me wrong. But again, because the feels like temperatures include both the heat and the humidity, the feels like temperatures are actually going down, which is good. Now, they're not going down by that much. Again, this is not going to be this is not earth-shattering drop at all. In fact, it feels like temperatures are essentially just dropping 5 degrees here for the day today. I know what you're thinking. A whopping 5 degrees. It's still hot outside, and there's no heat advisory. Yes, okay. But, hey, our atmosphere is trying. Give it credit. Give it credit where credit is due. All right. Well, especially for those of you trying to embrace any bits of cooler temperatures or any comfortable conditions that we could thrive under here for the summer, you'll be thankful for this. Again, it feels like temperatures have dropped by about 5 degrees. It feels like temperatures are settling around 100 here, not just for this afternoon, but also for tomorrow as well. And this is a trend that will continue on for the next couple of days, too, with feels like temperatures in the morning staying in the upper 70s and lower 80s. So next 5 days, here are those feels like temperatures. So all the way through the weekend, they'll pretty much settle right around 100 degrees here for the most part over the next several days. Now, the criteria needed to provide the heat advisory that the National Weather Service needs to be able to fully issue a heat advisory, is up to 105. It's essentially 105 or higher, sustained for at least 2 to 3 hours, somewhere in that ballpark. They need that to be sustained anywhere around the Arklatex here for this afternoon in order to prompt that heat advisory in effect. And since we have our humidity levels cooling off, or humidity levels dropping off just a little bit, we have our feels like temperatures thus dropping off a little bit, which means the heat advisory has not been issued here for today. All right, so that's all over the temperatures and the heat, which again are falling just a little bit. Now, as for the rain, as I kind of expressed earlier, yesterday we had a good amount of storms rolling through last night. Now, that's kind of associated with that cluster of storms that's slowly meandering westward out and through eastern Texas that's trying to go closer and closer to the low pressure center and cold front way out to the west. I'll go ahead and show you on the map. So all of this essentially worked its way through the Arklatex yesterday that you see there in eastern Texas. This is trying to move westward. It's trying to essentially join its brethren. It's moisture. It's like a flock of birds. You want to join the family. You want to join up with the rest of the gang. Essentially, the main line of moisture around the United States is around New Mexico, Colorado, way off to our west in western Texas, and barely creeping into northern Texas as well, up near Amarillo. Now, this is going to stay here. Why? Because, again, as we've mentioned time and time again on this podcast, for those of you during this week, if you're new, that's fine. The point is high pressure system. This is not moving. This has been stuck here since Friday, and it's going to continue to stay stuck over the last couple of days. This round of moisture gave us a little bit of a break from the heat, again, for this afternoon, but not much in the grand scheme of things, again, because this high pressure system and our overall upper air analysis pattern is still stuck in place, which means we have continued to maintain similar conditions also stuck in place. So the point is, moisture is going to be going all the way well out to our west. So that'll maintain us with mostly sunny conditions here locally underneath a good portion of the Arklatex. But I will say, because we're dragging up still a good amount of humidity, we're still expected to form potentially a few more storms here for the afternoon. So for now, everything on the first alert Doppler radar here is looking pretty solid. They got a couple storms again in southeastern Texas. They're mainly just camping off by the coastline. These are going to be trying to make their way, though, north and west. You can kind of see the trajectory. As they move north and west, this is going to be filling most of eastern Texas here for the afternoon. But some of this could creep in some of our western edge of the Arklatex here for the afternoon based on that trajectory. And we'll take a look at that right now on the future track. So, again, a couple of these storms start popping up as soon as the afternoon ends. It's, again, we've mentioned time and time again, because most of these storms, as I've stated, have been fueled by the afternoon heat. The heat sparks those storms in the afternoon hours. Now, again, thankfully for the day today, with the trajectory of most of the moisture, it's actually going to be off to our west. If you're taking a trip towards Dallas or Fort Worth today, you expect it to be wet, especially on the eastern half of Dallas-Fort Worth. Most of this is going to be looking at impact areas around Nacogdoches and areas around Tyler and Mount Pleasant as well. Greater chances of storms are around there. If you're in Shreveport and Bossier, as you kind of see from this loop, maybe a stray chance of a shower, if that. Same thing for Texarkana, too. But overall, most of this is going to be an East Texas problem here for the day today. And I'd even say East Texas, again, between Mount Pleasant and Nacogdoches. If you're on some of those counties that border either Louisiana or Arkansas, though, still a greater chance of storms are near there. But I wouldn't be impressed or even surprised to see if some areas like Marshall, Jefferson don't see a storm here for today. They could, but I wouldn't be surprised to see if they don't. Thursday, a lot less storms even around for the afternoon here for tomorrow. Well, just a stray shower possible in the afternoon. I got about 10% rain chance here, mainly for Thursday. And for Shreveport, 10% rain chance in for today, and the same thing goes for Friday as well. Now, if you notice, on Friday afternoon, greater chance of storms lingers around the eastern half of the Arklatex, out towards Minden and Natchitoches. If you're in those areas here for your Friday afternoon, watch out, because not only do we have rain showers forming there, as you kind of see on the loop, rain showers kind of just linger in areas around Natchitoches and Minden here for the afternoon hours on Friday. And we repeat this. Again, it's just afternoon batch and batch after storm. Now, thankfully, again, a lot of these cells are tiny and don't affect most of the region. But for those of you that do get hit, again, don't be surprised. This rain chance, this afternoon storm chance, albeit small with a few cells. We still have the presence of storms, again, albeit small, in the Arklatex each and every afternoon throughout the rest of this week and into the weekend as well for Saturday and Sunday. Sunday, I'm expecting maybe a few more numerous storms to form in the afternoon hours on Sunday compared to Saturday, but overall, still plenty of sunshine to enjoy for the weekend. Still plenty of heat as well, but could feature maybe a brief pop-up shower or two here for this coming weekend. Now, let's go over this in and of its entirety here in our 7-day forecast here for you. 96 here today, 97 in for Thursday and Friday, 98 for Saturday, Sunday. You get the point. Temperatures aren't really changing that much over the next several days. The one thing that's changing, that's making the I guess the heat advisor go away, again, is the humidity slightly falling. It's not greatly falling. You will feel humidity still out the door, but it's not going to be as bad, essentially. So we maintain that 10% rain chance here today through Saturday. Then I will say this is the first day of forecasting where I've actually noticed a substantial change of something. Because you remember, I feel like I've been on repeat ever since Monday, and you can even say ever since Thursday or Friday of last week. I feel like I've been on repeat with the heat, the sunshine, and these stray showers that we just can't lose completely, or we can't get in a massive round to completely wipe away all the humidity and all the storm coverage out of the way. Look at Tuesday. I really think somewhere around Tuesday or Wednesday of next week, we will probably have our next major chance of storms back into the Arklatex, which is going to bring some good implications along with it. So again, first major change in the forecast I really see coming up. Again, just stray bits and pieces of storms each and every day. That does continue through both days of the weekend. And as of right now, that still continues through Monday. But then somewhere around Tuesday or Wednesday of next week, I'm expecting more of a massive round of rain hitting us then. And it could do a lot of things. One of the things is it could actually cool us off just a little bit. For now, it doesn't really look like it's doing that on Tuesday itself, but that could cool us off for the following Wednesday, potentially. Other things that could happen is this could also swipe away most of our moisture, and then we could actually have full sunshine to where we're not even worrying about afternoon storms at all. That would be great. But yeah, lots of possibilities here for the middle of next week. So stay tuned. I'm just intrigued to finally see, again, a little change in the 7-day forecast we can actually pinpoint. And that's going to happen somewhere around Tuesday or Wednesday again of next week. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back after this, we're going to explain the science of the sun halo. And I realized I forgot to mention one other thing in this stream. We're going to talk about the tropics. I know we did a full tropics segment yesterday. I'm not going to go full deep dive into the tropics, but we're going to talk about what happened with Andrea here between yesterday and today, because I realized I haven't talked about that today, and there's a reason for that. We'll get into why, and we'll talk tropics again and the sun halo, the science behind that, when we come back after this. Welcome back to the First Solar Weather Breakdown. Thanks for joining us again here for the day today. It is a beautiful Wednesday here in the Arklatex again. Just gotta watch out for a stray shower or two. All right, that's the local forecast. Gotta get to just two other things real quick, kind of in a monologue type of setting where it's just me and you talking here on the First Solar Weather Breakdown. First, explaining the sun halo. Let's get to that first before we discuss tropics and what's happened real quick with Andrea. So sun halo, essentially what it is it's you might have taken a photo of this on your phone or kind of mentioned just like it's like a ring. I wouldn't call it a ring of fire, but it's a ring of what appears to be sunlight coming out of it around the actual sun. Now, I thought this mainly appeared in kind of summer because originally I kind of associated this with like desertish and kind of associated it with just hot temperatures because it's more of a presence of the sunshine in a way. But I was wrong. Believe it or not. Did some more research on it yesterday, and see, I admit when I admit when I do some things incorrectly. It's associated a little more with winter, and the reason why is because of the science behind it. And it's actually when science. The sun halo is formed. Essentially, again, it's a ring around the sun. I wish I had a photo of it. But anyways, it's a ring around the sun that is essentially formed by ice crystals. Which ice crystals can form in the sun, or can form in the sun. Ice crystals can form in the atmosphere during summer, but typically not around the Arklatex. You need a cold enough environment. Not necessarily just to produce snow, but because the atmosphere, believe it or not, cools off with height. So you can easily form ice crystals here during the winter, even in the Arklatex. It just all turns to rain by the time it falls into the ground, or falls at the ground level, essentially. So, yes, it's essentially sunlight hitting ice crystals, essentially moisture at the higher levels with like cirrus clouds. So sunlight reflects under certain types of ice crystals at high elevations, very high elevations, not your typical like thunderstorms that form at low elevations at all, or just storms, period. It's just usually like the high level cloud cover that look, like innocent looking, just white clouds, very thin. They're not going to do any damage or produce any rain. It's sunlight reflecting off of those. Yeah, it's a matter of sunlight reflecting, so it acts like it's by the reflection. It acts essentially as like a mirror to the sunlight being seen by our eyes here at the surface, and it reflects back out into the space. It's pretty cool for that matter. So that's a quick little abode to that. Next up, last thing of business before we got to skedaddle is talking about the tropics here real quick. I'll actually let you see this here for yourself. I'm going to pull this up here really quick. But essentially what's happened here is Andrea is no longer there. In fact, it is pretty much fizzled out completely on our radar picture. I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't even checked the whole satellite picture here today to even see where it is. It was around here. The point is, it's gone. I believe it was this. And just so you know, this is well off to the East Coast. This is the East Coast of the United States, way over here. It was in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean in here. Essentially, cooler temperatures, cooler waters in the Atlantic Ocean has made it completely fizzle out and drown itself out. And I believe this was it right here. I mean, if you look anywhere around here, it was definitely not this way off to the very bottom of your screen there. It was somewhere in here. The point is, it's completely fizzled out thanks to very, very cooler temperatures. And it didn't even last 24 hours. I believe it fizzled out around midnight. And it got formed yesterday around 9 in the morning. So it didn't even make it 24 hours. So Tropical Storm Andrea is no more. No more. I won't say tier, but, it didn't really do much at all. Not even for the fishies. So, anyways, on to the B storm. Which I'm going to look up for you guys real quick. B storm. Atlantic tropical season. Because I forget the B season. I talk about me not being completely formed. Oh my gosh, everybody's talking about Andrea. Hold up, let me just talk. storm names. I know you're waiting on me and just waiting for me to look things up real quick. I'm sorry. Hopefully your day's been good here so far today. No, not 2023. I love autocorrect. Why do you autocorrect 2023? Full list of names. There we go. Dexter, that's the... No. Oh my goodness, this article. You know what? I can't even find it. Anyways, thanks for watching First Look with a Breakdown. Hold up. I gotta be able to find it. I'm not admitting defeat. Why is this being incredibly difficult? It's Barry. Barry is the next name. There we go. Found it. I knew I could find it. Barry, Chantal, and Dorian are, I believe, the next couple of names. Yes, Dorian. So Barry, Chantel, and Dorian are the next 3 names up on the list, B, C, and D. We'll see when they form. Nothing else is expected to form besides Andrea for a while. Everything is looking quiet, at least all the way through the beginning of July. So it's good to know. Obviously, June and July, the quiet months. We'll see what happens August, September, October. Anyways, thank you for watching First Look with a Breakdown. We'll see you again tomorrow. Tomorrow, we have an interview. We have something exciting happening here for tomorrow's edition of First Look with a Breakdown. We have an interview going on with Zach Fradella, who's a meteorologist down in New Orleans. We're going to be talking more about tropics, actually, and how that's going, and also how, comparing New Orleans weather, he's, as I said, a meteorologist that will be interviewing who's down in New Orleans. We'll kind of compare how our weather's been locally to from Shreveport over to what's been going on in Nolens, essentially. So excited to join with him, and again, we'll also be talking about tropic season, how it's going to outlook, how it's been looking so far, those kind of things. So very intriguing. Anyways, thanks for watching First Look with a Breakdown. Again, I'll see you again tomorrow, 10:30, with that interview in place. You be there, be square. Most importantly, be weather aware. Have a good one. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. Enjoy the sunshine. Peace.